Tuesday night Sixers loss down in DC, the second of this four-game road trip in general, but a 116 to 111 loss to the Washington Wizards. And look, obviously the biggest thing here is that the win streak snaps. The eight-game winning streak ends at that. And this is one where, look, I don't want to call it a trap game because honestly, there shouldn't be trap games because you should be handling every single opponent as if they are the 2017 Warriors. I don't know how to explain that, but I don't think per se that the Sixers took the Wizards too lightly. I think the Sixers game was just off. I don't know if maybe the traveling. Obviously, we do know that this team does struggle on the road. But here tonight, obviously some coaching decisions were a little bit questionable, and obviously we all, I know most Sixers fans, when things go wrong, the first person they point their finger at is Doc Rivers, which I get at this point. Obviously, for me, a lot of the late game stuff was a little bit frustrating, confusing from Doc Rivers, which I'll get to in a second. Three-point shooting was off here tonight. This is a Sixers team that has been shooting the lights out, and guys have been stepping up as far as that category goes. But here tonight, it was cold. Not just like the weather outside. It was 19%. Yeah, that's the shooting percentage from the three-point line from the Philadelphia 76ers. So that was bad as well. So, and of course, listen, the Wizards don't like the Sixers. I mean, we've had their number for like, I feel like a decade now, right? And so they, going into this game, were looking to get a victory. And this is a team that obviously not in a good spot. I think they were 13 and 21 before this game. Now they're 14 and 21. And it's not what they anticipated going into the season. And obviously you have Bradley Beal there. And the Wizards just stepped up and they took advantage of the Sixers just shooting themselves in the foot. And so tonight the Sixers just a bad performance. That's frustrating, but it is the NBA, ladies and gentlemen. And these things do happen, but you got to find a way to prevent that. And I think the Sixers could have definitely prevented that here tonight. So we'll talk about that. But I do want to thank you guys for checking on in. We fully intended to have this live on the YouTube channel, all the platforms last night. Last night I suffered a scare, a little family emergency. My puppy, as you guys know, I'm a new dog dad, new dog owner. So my dog got herself into some chocolate. If you guys don't know, chocolate can be very toxic and very dangerous for dogs. So if you are a dog owner or planning on being a dog owner in the future, especially around the holiday season where chocolates are getting handed left and right, just be conscious about it. Don't make the same mistake I did because I was shitting myself for 2 hours last night, thinking my dog was going to die. But luckily, I have a breed and I have a dog that is built like an absolute tank. So my dog is good. But that's why we weren't live last night. We did watch the game, so I ran some errands last night, and I got home at 7:15. I always like to start the game 15 minutes late because I do have it recorded, and I hate commercials more than anything in life. So I try to delay the start of. That's why I don't tweet or I don't do live streams because I hate that, and plus my emotions won't handle it either. Yeah, so that was my night. I finished the game early this morning watching it, so luckily a little bit fresh in my mind. But look, this was a game to start off with here, which, as we mentioned, going into it, a little bit of a winning streak for the Philadelphia 76ers, and they wanted to kind of continue that. They start off the first quarter with the lead, and then Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis as well got into business, and these guys got going. Between fast break points, three-point shooting, they got themselves as much as of a 16-point lead. That took place in the third quarter, and the Sixers just could not knock down anything. And defensively, they were just struggling. I mean, let's start offensively. So offensively, obviously, a lot of their bread and butter is knocking down the three-point shot, right? And that's a lot of what they like to do besides, putting the offense through the hands of James Harden and Joel Embiid. But when you have those two, everyone else becomes sharpshooters essentially. And that's been what has kind of been the formula as of late. And especially the bench being a major contribution, especially George Niang kind of leading the way with that. And tonight, they just got completely outworked here as far as the bench unit goes. The Wizards bench was definitely much more on, and it was consistent, I would say. You had consistent play from all of their bench pieces, and of course, Rui Hachimura, which is hilarious because the one thing I've always said, I would love Rui Hachimura. He was always a development project, but he's a wing player, and I loved his game, and I really felt like he could be something that could really help the Sixers team. And everyone was just like, "Oh, he's trash. He can't make a shot. What are you talking about?" And look, he's slowly starting to turn it on here this season. He's averaging about 12 points a game, almost 5 boards a game. So he's slowly starting to turn on. He's a wing player, right? And that's what you need. That's what you're looking for in this. And he's a solid defender as well. He finished with 14 points. He led the Wizards with points off the bench. But look, Taj Gibson, which somehow, some way is still kicking. He has 7 points. Danny Avdija, who has been relegated to more of a bench role, he had 7 points here. DeLon Wright, shouts out to DeLon Wright. If you guys remember, back when we were tanking. No, before we were tanking. Dorian Wright was a member of the Philadelphia 76ers, his brother. He was here. He was a power forward. He was here the Andrew Bynum season. I remember him very, very vividly. I wonder how he's doing, but yeah, that was a weird team. You had, obviously, the thought was Andrew Bynum was going to play center, but you had like Thad Young was your 4, Evan Turner was your 3. I think Jody Meeks was the 2. Or no, I think we traded. Now Jody Meeks was in that trade. So who was? Oh, Swaggy freaking P. Yo, Swaggy P. He was the 2. You had Drew Holiday as the 1. Those were some fun times. And Dorian Wright, Dorian Wright. Dorian Wright was more of a bench piece, but that was fun. His brother is now with the Washington Wizards. Corey Kispert had 8 points here off the bench for the Wizards. He had also got blocked by Montrezl Harrell head on. I don't know how that happens, but he has to walk away from that. But he also finished with 8 points as well. So, and then of course Rui Hachimura finishing with 14 points, and that was the big difference because you look at the Sixers bench. You got a big contribution from Montrezl Harrell as much as you possibly could. Defensively, we'll talk about it in just a second. He had 9 points. Daniel House, 3 points. George Niang, Cole tonight, 3 points. Matisse Thybulle got zilched and only had 4 minutes, almost 5 minutes in this game. I'll talk about that in just a second in the Doc Rivers mishaps tonight. And then Shake Milton only gets a free throw knocked in. And so that is just a problem right there. You get, 17 points from your bench here tonight overall. And you get what? You got 21, 29, 43 points from this Wizards bench. 43-17. That to me is one of the major contributions to tonight's loss. The other major contribution is the 3-point, like we mentioned. The Wizards were 11-33. The crazy part about it is that the Wizards only shot one more 3 than the Philadelphia 76ers. And the Sixers were 6 of 31 from the 3-point line. That's good for 19%. The Wizards, 11 of 33 from the 3-point line. That's good enough for 33%. Listen, I know it's only the difference is 5 threes, but that right there is 15 points. That's a big difference. When you look at the field goals, the Wizards shot one more field goal as well. They shot about the same. The thing is that the stats here tonight were all pretty close. The Sixers shot 1% better than the Washington Wizards. But when you consider the fact that the Wizards were a much more efficient team from the 3-point line and had more contribution from your starting lineup, that is the major difference. You look at the other major stats. Boards, exactly the same, 39. Assists, the Sixers had 3 more than the Wizards. Steals, the Sixers had 1 more. Blocks, Sixers 2 more. Turnovers, exactly the same. Free throws, exactly the same. So everything was almost exactly the same. Second chance points, Sixers 21, Wizards 20. Fast break points, 12-13. The Wizards had the 13. Points in the paint, Sixers did dominate there. But that doesn't matter because when the Wizards are shooting 33%, have 5 more threes over you, that's going to be the big factor. And what's disappointing about it as well is that Joel Embiid had another dominant performance, had 4 points, almost 50 points here tonight with 10 boards. James Harden had 26. Tobias with 15. He went a little bit colder in the second half, but with those type of performances, you need others to step up. Right? What we've seen over the past couple games, yes, James and Joel have been putting up those type of numbers. But you have George Niang dropping 12, Shake Milton dropping 14, DeAnthony Melton dropping 18. DeAnthony Melton finished with 6 points here tonight. And it just wasn't their type of night. But at the end of the day, they had an opportunity to win this game. And you had the better team on the field, or on the court, whatever. It was a 3-point game with 30 minutes left into it. It was 3 points for most of the final minutes of this game, until obviously you get into like some the foul stuff and bad misses from the Sixers. But closing minutes of this game, a couple of things, right? Like number one, you're down 3 points, right? I get it. You need some offense, right? You have Tobias, you have Joel, and you have James Harden out on the court. Why is George Niang in the starting lineup at that point? Honest to God, why is George Niang out there in the starting lineup? You need defense. You need a defender. PJ Tucker left the game here today early because he has a nerve problem in his shoulder that is affecting his shooting hand. He's pretty much playing with a dead hand, which is freaking crazy. And now I hope that all the PJ Tucker haters can keep quiet a little bit because my man was playing with a dead hand. But also, why is PJ Tucker playing with a nerve in his shoulder in December? You paid this man, what was it, 3 years, 37 mil, something like that? You paid that man that money for the playoffs. Why are you working him in the regular season? In December! What are we doing? Why, I want to know why PJ Tucker was out there for this long. We know players want to play. We know that. They could be their own worst enemy sometimes. That's why, as a coach, as a medical staff, you got to put a hold to that. And that, to me, is just, that's just dumb on behalf of the coaching. But besides that, PJ's out of the game right now. You need to stop. Why the fuck do you have Matisse Thybulle on this roster? Honestly. Matisse Thybulle can't play consistent minutes because his offensive game is crap. But in this moment, you need a defender. Matisse Thybulle's main strength is defense. The Sixers struggle all damn night with one-on-one defense. They struggle with dribble penetration. So that's why you saw a lot of zone here tonight. And the Wizards were able to shoot the hell out of it. Kudos to them. The Wizards also threw the zone at you. But you were able to just barely shoot yourself out of it. But when you have Joel Embiid, it makes things much, much more different. And just like defensively, you can't stop anyone one-on-one. And so Joel Embiid has to work extra hard because he's the last line of defense. And he's got to go out and help all these other guys who can't defend someone one-on-one. And now you're tiring Joel Embiid. And now you're at the end of this game. And the final, I want to look at the possession. It was like what the last best chance of the game, right? You get a block, right? And then you go into the other end. Tobias Harris with the ball, pump fakes, drives to the paint, and then he just passes it off to George Niang. Then George Niang passes it back to the 3-point line to Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid drives and just thinks, I get tired of when Joel Embiid thinks that he's like Bradley Beal or Dame Lillard, or Ja Morant. Dude, you're a 7-foot dude. You got good handles for a center at 7'2", but you're still 7'2". It is hard to have handles like one of those point guards when you're that tall. Why are you driving in a crucial moment like that? Trying to Euro step, pick up the ball, and you're trying to make a layup. Come on, Joel. But I can't fault Joel. Joel's trying to make a play. Why isn't Doc calling a timeout at that point? You got 2 timeouts left, my dude. Call a fucking play. Build something, dude. You got Tobias and Joel not knowing what the hell to do. It did feel like throughout this game they were overthinking things a little bit because they were struggling to shoot, and that stuff happens. So go to your bread and butter. How many times you just need a fucking bucket and why don't you call a pick and roll? Why isn't this team running more pick and rolls? Why? You have possibly the best pick and roll partnership with Joel Embiid and James Harden of all time. If you need a bucket, just call that play. It's that simple. It's a 3-point game, Doc, with 3 minutes left. And defensively, it is what it is. But give yourself that chance. Call a timeout, dial up a play, and let's give ourselves an actual shot to win this game. It is really, really frustrating here. And, I was piggybacking off of what to do with Tyrese Maxey coming back, which, by the way, does look like he'll either be back Friday against the Pelicans or he'll be back for the Saturday game versus the Thunder. So either Friday or Saturday, we should get Tyrese Maxey back. And how are you going to fit Maxey into this lineup? This team has looked solid throughout this run. They finally found a way to play together. But now you got to put in a really important piece into this. You have to put Maxey on the bench. I've decided you have to put Maxey on the bench. You cannot disrupt this flow whatsoever. And clearly, you could use Maxey coming off the bench. Okay? 17 points to Washington's 43 points off the bench. You need that. I mean, Tyrese Maxey can get 17 points by the third quarter. So this needs to happen. They need to put Maxey coming off the bench. For now. And then you can slowly integrate him back into the starting lineup. I'm okay with that. But for right now, Maxey needs to be coming off the bench. So we'll see when exactly that will happen. But tonight's a frustrating loss. And I completely get that. And I know people are going to freak out. And I completely get that as well. There was some frustrating things. But at the end of the day, this does happen, right? We talk about this all the time. Losses in this league happens. This is one that you definitely could have avoided. But you have to put this away, and you got to get back out there. I do hope that the Sixers are pissed off with this one. You're going to have a good Pelicans. This is not last year's Pelicans team, right? This is a solid Pelicans team that is figuring it out. And I think they're, near the top of the West, if not at the top of the West. Like, it's like that crazy. They're second in the West, 21-12. Zion Williamson finally turned it on. CJ McCollum is go figure. It's not like I've been telling this. I haven't been saying this for 5 years. He needs to be away from Dame Lillard. They're buddies and all, but they're essentially the same player. And now he's getting shot here in New Orleans. So I really hope that the Sixers are pissed off, head down to New Orleans with the same emotion, and go out there and get a fucking W. Get back on the W train, right? So we're gonna have to throw this bad boy away. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else here to talk about before we sign on off. We talked about trade rumors on Owing Philly Sports. We talked about our beautiful couple they're going wild. They're going viral. The man got proposed. At the Clippers game. Yeah, those guys are going freaking wild. But all right, so we'll see what happens. Next up, Pelicans on Friday night. It's gonna be a great test here for the Sixers. Maxey, hopefully he will be back. It'll be great to see. Frustrating loss. Doc, get your crap together, right? Let's get a better defensive plan as well, right? And let's get Maxey coming off the bench. I need some more consistent bench scoring. That's really, and honestly, like, I don't want to kill the bench because the bench has been the big reason why you've gone on a 9-game or 8-game winning streak, right? And obviously, the big reason why you lost tonight was because of that bench. And so, I think that to secure yourself with scoring off the bench, have Maxey coming off of it. That's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. That's good. That does it for Sixers game recap. Again, the Sixers fall 116-111. They're back at it on Friday. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe for more Philly sports. And until next time, I am El Parcero Philly, and I'm telling you guys, let's go Sixers. Talk to you guys soon.